as I told you, I've been swimming, and when I couldn't swim in different times, I would run. And I really never bicycled much until I was in Los Angeles. And my sister, Kate, was living in, I think she was in Huntington Beach at the time, she and her husband. And I was at St. Odelia's Parish in South Central Los Angeles. So about once a month I would go to their house. And they were triathletes. Now they would do half Ironman distances, and I thought, well, gee, that's crazy. And then they asked me one day if I wanted to do one, and they were doing a half Ironman. It was called Rob's Crazy Ironman or something like that. I said, sure, I could do that. So I could run 13 miles, and I can swim 2 miles or swim a mile. And so I went and did it without really working out, and they hated me because I completed it. It was fine, but you're supposed to train a whole lot for that. For me, when I go out for a 2-mile run or a 20-mile run, it takes a couple of hours. And it's a great place to be a clearinghouse. It's a great place to let all of the thoughts and feelings and incidences and situations that I'm working with to go through my mind and through my body. It's really an emotional clearinghouse. And it's a great place to pray. It's a great place to be open with the Lord and to allow all of my life and its responsibilities to be let go of and connected to at the same time. Finding creative ways to raise money to sustain the expensive ministry of rehabilitation is a very important thing to do. And I just thought, I know a lot of other people who raise funds for different causes, and I thought this would be a good way to raise money for them. And people are always enthusiastic. They just love to contribute to that. And many of them, it's a great evangelical effort in this respect, many of their children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews are runners or bikers or swimmers, and it allows them to talk about me to them. And it's kind of, it's an evangelizing element. Oh, it becomes interesting to them. Because for some people, the only spirituality that they ever really appreciate is their exercise or their recreation. Some people think I don't do anything all day except run, bike, or swim, and that I'm always out training. They have no clue that it's once a week I go running. And once every few weeks I get to go biking because that takes time. I make sure that there's still time to pray, and there's time to do ministry, and time to do laundry, and time to cook, and time to do gardening, and time to get other people engaged in all of the things that you're doing.
I would never know if I passed by you. If you didn't say hello, I wouldn't know it's you.
How are you doing? Good to see you. This year I'm running New York City. It's the inaugural New York City Ironman distance. I think for fundraising for Graymore's Ministries, I'd be better off in New York City. And so I'm going to do New York City. And besides, I thought it would be kind of interesting to swim in the Hudson River. So the swim is in the Hudson, the bike is up the Palisades, and then the run will end up on Riverside, on the west side. We'll run right past the Graymore Ecumenical and Interfaith office, which is on Riverside Drive there. I do the Ironman Mass every year at St. Agnes's, and it's a wonderful thing because it really gives me an opportunity to proclaim the gospel in the context of all these Ironmen and their family, men and women and their families, and to be able to. One year I talked about Irenaeus. The glory of God is the human person fully alive, because the readings lent themselves to that. One year I talked about this crowd of witnesses and talked about the end when there are thousands of people cheering people going through the finish line, even at midnight when somebody's practically crawling through, all of these people are cheering them on. I said that is the crowd of witnesses that it's analogous to the crowd of witnesses that are praying for us to get into heaven. So there are always ways to be able to draw parallels between what is happening in a race. The fact that people are, one year it was the breaking of the bread, and the fact that thousands of people are feeding you along the way with Gatorade and goo. I said, that is Eucharistic, because they're helping us on the journey just as the Eucharist helps us on the journey. You know, people stop and talk and of course, because many of them have been to Mass the night before, they'll stop and they'll talk to me about the Mass, or about the homily, or about their families, or struggles they're having. It's interesting. I mean, I've done ministry on the way. I don't do ministry in the water.